This is Optimal Startup Daily, episode 291, 7 Rituals You Should Steal from Extremely Creative People, part 2, by Marc Chernoff of marcandangel.com. And hey again, I am Dan, I'm your host here, and I read to you every single day to help you optimize your life. And it really means a lot that you are here each and every day, helps us to keep this show and the other shows in our network going. And today I've got a continuation post from yesterday, so I'd recommend listening to that episode yesterday first if you haven't done that already. But if you're all caught up, let's hear part 2 as we continue optimizing your life. 7 Rituals You Should Steal from Extremely Creative People, part 2, by Marc Chernoff of marcandangel.com. 5. Observe your mentors and study the work of other masters. If you study the lives of enough successful creators, it becomes obvious that most world-class performers in all fields, musicians, entrepreneurs, artists, dancers, etc., had incredible mentors, coaches, or role models who made the activity of practice worthwhile and rewarding. If you can speak with a mentor face-to-face, that's incredible, do so. But keep in mind that just observing a mentor works wonders too. When we observe someone we want to learn from and we have a crystal clear idea of what we want to create for ourselves, it unlocks a tremendous amount of motivation. Human beings are socially inclined, and when we get the idea that we want to join some elite circle up above us, that is what really motivates us to achieve greatness. Look, they did it. I can do it too. It may sound overly simplistic, but spending time studying people who are great can be one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. In his book Mastery, Robert Greene emphasizes the importance of studying the work of others using Mozart as an example. This is an essential building block for mastering your craft and cultivating your creativity at the same time. Quote, "Throughout his career, Mozart never asserted any particular opinions about music. Instead, he absorbed the styles he heard around himself and incorporated them into his own voice. Late in his career, he encountered for the first time the music of Johann Sebastian Bach, a kind of music very different from his own, and in some ways more complex. Most artists would grow defensive and dismissive of something that challenged their own principles. Instead, Mozart opened his mind up to new possibilities, studying Bach's use of counterpoint for nearly a year and absorbing it into his own vocabulary. This gave his music a new and surprising creative quality." End quote. The bottom line is that studying mentors and other masters can help you diversify your own creative output. Doing so facilitates the process of cross-pollinating ideas and strategies, as well as introducing you to new approaches and ways of thinking. Not everything others do will be relevant to you, of course, but it will help refine and develop your style and tailor it to your own unique creative goals. 6. Lean heavily on your intuition. Intuition is very real and something that is never wise to ignore because it comes from deep within your subconscious and is derived from a combination of your previous life experiences and core perceptions about the present. If everyone else is telling you yes, but your gut is telling you otherwise, it's usually for a good reason. When faced with difficult decisions, seek out all the information you can find, become as knowledgeable as you possibly can, and then listen to your God-given instincts. Creative people know that trusting your intuition is equivalent to trusting your true self, and the more you trust your true self, the more control you have of making your biggest goals and wildest dreams come true, just the way you envision. 7. Gradually turn life's obstacles around. Many of the most iconic novels, songs, and inventions of all time were inspired by gut-wrenching pain and heartbreak. Therefore, the silver lining of these great challenges is that they were the catalyst to the creation of epic masterpieces. An emerging field of psychology called post-traumatic growth has suggested that most people are able to use their hardships and traumas for substantial creative and intellectual development. Specifically, researchers have found that trauma can help people grow their long-term contentment, emotional strength, and resourcefulness. When our view of the world as a safe place or as a certain type of place has been shattered, we are forced to reboot our perspective on things. We suddenly have the opportunity to look out to the periphery and see things with a new, fresh set of beginner's eyes, which is extremely beneficial to creativity and personal growth. Angel and I discuss this in detail in the adversity chapter of 1,000 Little Things Happy, Successful People Do Differently. Afterthoughts. Walt Disney once said, quote, Around here, we don't look backwards for very long. We keep moving forward, opening up new doors and doing new things because we're curious, and curiosity keeps leading us down new paths." End quote. This is one of my favorite quotes. It inspires me to write and create, and to move on to my next piece of work, even when I catch myself judging my last piece of work as not good enough. For nearly a decade, I have been publishing new articles every week on marcandangel.com. Sometimes the ideas and words come easier than others, and there have been plenty of times when I felt like my work was subpar. I'll think, "Hey, I thought this was a great article. Why aren't people reading and sharing it?" Or I'll feel like I fumbled through an article only to watch it get 25,000 plus shares on Facebook. Regardless of which outcome I'm dealing with, I've realized one thing. As human beings, we are often terrible judges of our own work. We're just too self-critical to see the truth most of the time. And not only that, it's not our job to judge our own work. It's not our job to compare it to everyone else's work or to how we thought others would perceive it. There's no use in doing that. Instead, it's our job to create. Our job is to share what we have right now in this moment. Our job is to come as we are and give it our best shot. There are people in nearly every career field who make each day a work of art simply by the way they have mastered their craft. In other words, almost everyone is an artist in some way, and every artist will have the tendency to judge their own work. The important thing is not to let your self-judgment keep you from doing your thing and sharing your creative gift with the world. Just like Walt said, the key is to keep moving forward. You just listened to part 2 of the post titled 7 Rituals You Should Steal from Extremely Creative People by Marc Chernoff of marcandangel.com. So let's pretend for a minute that you're about to launch a campaign. It tested well, your entire team is happy, and everything's going according to plan, except for that one thought in the back of your head. How do I ensure the people I want to target will be in the mindset to receive my message? The answer? LinkedIn. Because when you market on LinkedIn, your message reaches people who are ready to do business, and that means your advertising campaign will work as hard as it can as soon as you launch it. It's no wonder that over 78% of B2B marketers use LinkedIn to achieve their lead goals. For us, LinkedIn made it so easy to engage with podcast networks and fellow podcasters when we first started out. We networked with people with similar interests and connected with them through LinkedIn groups, and some authors actually found us on LinkedIn to narrate their articles. It's really an amazing community, and LinkedIn definitely helped us achieve our business goals. So do business where business is done. Get a $100 advertising credit toward your first LinkedIn campaign. Visit linkedin.com/OSD. That's linkedin.com/OSD. Terms and conditions apply. And thank you again to both Marc and Angel. And as I mentioned yesterday, they are super popular bloggers with millions of page views. They've also got some books that are worth your time to check out. Getting Back to Happy is a New York Times bestseller that shares their strategies for changing thought patterns and daily habits to bounce back from tough times. That includes daily rituals, mindfulness, self-care, and more, with never-before-published stories and advice. Now, that type of content about personal development and growth is regularly featured over on the podcast Optimal Living Daily. So if you like the style of today's article here, but want to hear the author's take on happiness, self-care, building habits, productivity, and much more, check out that show. Again, that's Optimal Living Daily. And make sure to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you get your podcasts to get all the new episodes for free. So thanks for doing that and for being here with me each and every day. Hope you've had a great weekend, and I'll see you back here tomorrow to start off another week of shows. That's where your optimal life awaits.